get, the restrictions. And of course, the economic sanctions gave him another opportunity to look for an alternative, and nuclear energy is indeed one. But this was one of the last resorts. Iran started with switching to natural gas and has been very successful. Some of it is to one of the pioneers of the gas industries right here, Mr. Shirazi, was the managing director of the natural gas company in Iran. But right now, 60% of the energy mix is from natural gas in Iran. Iran has been trying to reduce the subsidies while others are increasing, like Malaysia and others. And there are a number of reasons that Iran has. And right now, Iran has also enacted this rationing program, which is helping. So to what extent the sanctions has promoted Iran to push for the use of nuclear technology and electricity, and also, forgive my ignorance, but the 3,000 or 6,000 doesn't really mean anything to me or any others. How many of those units is needed to produce enough fuel for a reactor? Thank you so much.
This is the part of the dilemma. They would need about 50,000 to make enough low-enriched uranium for Bushehr every year. And yet 3,000 would be enough to make enough highly enriched uranium for a nuclear weapon. And so that's why a suspension is actually asked for. I mean, you claim that you want 50,000 for civil, but you reach the point of making HEU for weapons long before that. We want some demonstrated proof that you're not intending to do that. And their track record isn't very good. Cheating on the NPT, ambiguous statements, resisting IA inspections. And so you have a situation where you'd like them to stop for a while. And then lay out an energy program that would include a rational reason to have a large enrichment program, way beyond what they are at now, way beyond. And perhaps not even achievable if the West doesn't provide lots of equipment and materials and help in making effective centrifuge.
Dr. Pickering with Dr. Blix. Comments?
The question of clean bill of health that always comes up, and I think it's important to know, as David Albright knows, that you can never give a clean bill of health. I was many times in Iran, and I went to Rafsanjani on a couple of occasions. He complained. He said that we are letting in your inspectors all the time here. And yet, they are all over the place, and yet they don't give us a clean bill of health. So I said to him that, that expression doesn't really work in the medical sphere either, because you can be examined up and down by your doctor, and yet there might be something, little thing in your body, and you might die the next day. So I said, well, he took that. And then I left Iran, and 1 week later I saw that the Iranian news agent said that the DG of the IA had been in Tehran and had given them a clean bill of health.
I think we have time for one more question. Miles, before it's empty comes.
Miles Pomper from Arms Control today. My question for the panel is, there seems to be that the real motive here is not practical, because the fuel for Bushehr is being provided by the Russians on a contract basis. The fuel is only going to be used for a second reactor, which hasn't even yet been constructed. So the whole motive is a political motive in terms of this question of Iranian pride. How much, I think Dr. Blix talked about the North Korea example, but it strikes me that the agreed framework has a lot to say about this. The idea of, okay, you'll get these reactors, or you'll get this enrichment capability down the line, but let's kick that down as far as possible, and in the meantime we can give you some other forms of energy, or assistance, maybe roll back some of these sanctions instead of doing it the other way around. Does that make sense, or it just seems that we keep going for nuclear solutions when that's not necessarily the solution to a practical problem, but a political problem?
I was engaged with the government that tried the logic, the impeccable logic of your argument for years. and it didn't work. While the NIE claims that the Iranians are logical, somehow it doesn't seem to work in this particular instance. In the meantime, even if it's slow, the number of centrifuges is being added to, and the hole gets deeper.
Thank you all so much. This was an excellent panel. Please join me in thanking the panelists.